Hi guys, welcome back to Tech with TJ. Today I got something cool to show y'all. I built a PC for my friend that has a retro look thanks to the SilverStone FLP01 case, but it also has modern power. He went for the AMD Ryzen 7 7700X, a GIGABYTE 5080 graphics card, crucial DDR5 RAM 32 gigs, and 2 terabytes of storage. I helped him build this PC because this is his switch from console to PC gaming, and he wanted to have something that was powerful enough to run pretty much whatever game he could throw at it on his 4K OLED monitor that he bought. So this build is gonna last him, hopefully will last him a long time and be able to perform good at whatever game he decides to play. This will kind of be not really a guide to how to build a PC, just kind of an overview of how I built it. I do kind of have some clips of me building it in case you guys want to try to follow along, but there's a lot of other videos on YouTube that do a very deep dive into building PCs and cable managing and things like that. This was kind of just an overview. So the first thing that I did, of course, was install the CPU. To do that, on CPUs they have a little triangle, and on motherboards they have a triangle in one of the corners. Match up the corners with the triangle and kind of just lightly drop the CPU into the socket and then close the lever that holds it in. The next thing you're going to do is mount the CPU cooler. We had a Thermalright cooler, and to do that, you're going to have to take out AMD motherboards. For some reason have a bracket already installed in them, but I've never came across a CPU cooler that actually uses those brackets. So the first thing you're always going to have to do is uninstall the brackets that it came with. So we did that, then we installed the cooler. That was fairly easy to put together. The only thing that was a little weird, which you guys can see from the video, is the thermal paste. I don't know why it kind of came out like clay, but that's kind of the consistency that it was, so we just kind of went with it and got it on there. But most of the time it's a little more liquidy and not as clay like. This is the first time I kind of ran into that, but we ran thermals and things like that and it seemed to perform just fine. I don't know why. Like I said, I don't know why that was so thick, but that's alright, I guess. Next thing I did is install the memory. As you guys can see, I kind of struggled with this because it's always I always mix it up on matching up the correct way to do it. It's kind of like a USB kind of thing for me. You flip it one way, doesn't work, flip it the other way, doesn't work, then flip it back and somehow it works. That's kind of what happened here. And like I said on this channel, I like tech, I love building PCs, but in no means am I an expert. And so I'm going to leave this in here just to show you guys, struggles that people have when building a PC. So, yeah, that's kind of why I left that in there. You guys can flame me in the comments or whatever for, leaving that in there. Next thing I did was install the fans. I actually like installing fans just because I think it's a fairly easy task to do. Everything else seems very technical and very precise, but this just, you have the screws, you unscrew them, screw them to the fan. Very easy. You plug in on your motherboard. You'll see, most of the time they label them like chassis fan or something like that. You'll see headers that say that, and you plug those into there. I forgot to mention, when installing the CPU cooler, the CPU fan has a designated spot. So on your motherboard, you will see a CPU fan as a label on one of the fan headers. Make sure you use that one for, of course, your CPU fan, because the CPU controls that fan and is able to cool itself down better if you do that. So yeah, like I was saying, we just installed the case fans and got everything from that point on kind of cable managed. As you guys know, my stance on cable management, it's too much work for little reward, especially in this case. It covers, there's no glass view or anything like that, so you don't see anything on the inside of it. You only see the light from the fans, and that's about it. The next thing that we did was install the power supply and get those connections up too. We got the modular power supply, which if you're building a PC and are new to it, I highly recommend getting a modular power supply. What that means is you have the power supply and then you get a bag of cables. Usually the cables are labeled too, so you'll know exactly where they go. I just recommend this because sometimes when you get a non-modular, it just has all the cables pre-attached to it, and it can get a little overwhelming seeing a ton of cables just hanging out and sometimes they don't all have a place to go. So this way you only have to use the cables that you need. So after we got the power supply in, we got the GPU in. I will say, if you ever decide to get this case, it has, I forgot how wide it is, but the 5080 is probably about the max that you can go width-wise. It barely fit in there. We kind of had to move some stuff around and kind of really angle it in there, but it eventually it worked, and worked pretty good. We ran a couple benchmarks to make sure that everything worked, and I'm sorry, but I did not get video of that. The only thing I got video of is it turning on, but I forgot to record the screen and all that, so I'm very sorry about that, but I promise you guys it works. And yeah, and that's pretty much it. Thank you all for watching. Please comment down below, what your favorite part of this build was and what would you do differently. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I saw that I've reached 25 subscribers last time I checked, so I just want to thank everyone for subscribing to my videos. I'll be honest with you, I know I'm not the most entertaining to watch, so I didn't think that I would reach this this far. So thank you so much for that, and just leave a comment down below. Yeah, like I said, just what you liked about this build, what would you change, and yeah, just anything. Thank you so much.